Okay. It's all right. Let's do a mic test. All right, let's do a mic test. Okay, that looks good. Hey, everybody, back at the bug out cabin. Left a lot of stuff here last night, so I don't have as much to unload, but I still have a few things that I have to unload, so we'll get going. Let's take a look inside. Get a little bit of cross ventilation going. Hope everybody's having a good holiday. Got some better lighting today. That's the plan. Improved lighting. It was kind of in there. In the form of this LED shop light. Shouldn't draw too much power. And got some stain. First thing is to get some boards stained before I put them up. Be easier to do it before they're up. I got power here, but it's not turned on. All right, let's make sure we've got a nice live connection here. Running off the Goal Zero battery in the truck. I'll leave that on the truck because it's heavy. And if I don't have to carry it in here, I'd rather not. Let's see. Let's test out this shop light. How much light we get off of this. So there's two settings, one with just a little bit of light on the back, and then that one, a little bit of flicker. And maybe when it warms up. So I'm thinking that needs to go like here, maybe like that. Like right like that. Yeah. There's trip hazards everywhere here. I know whose fault that is. So today I remembered to bring a few things that I didn't have yesterday. Hole saw, couple of levels. Square, a triangle. I'm not a professional. Far from it. So now I can do all kinds of stuff wrong while it's live and embarrass myself. This is what it is. Gotta find the screws yesterday. These would work, but I want the smaller ones. Ah, yeah. So we don't need screws for this. Come up with these. They're right up in the middle here. That's 18 and a half. And we'll do the same over here. 18 and a half. Right to there. It's interesting, I'm getting one light, but not the other. should have two settings on here. Let's get all that off of there. Wow, it's kind of staticky. Maybe it's something about running off the battery. Huh. There we go. That's the other setting. Just puts a little light off the ceiling. Good. Now I'd like to have a little more light, so I'm going to set up this three-way. Did I say three-way? Oh my God. Okay. Because today turned out to be kind of gray. And I was hoping for another day like yesterday. It was just so nice. It was so sunny. So yesterday we got all these boards up here, but there's a couple left that need, these two need to be stained. So we're going to do that over here. Yeah. This one I think is a little bit rich. Might need to be trimmed. Oh, right. This is a smaller spot. They're both going to have to be trimmed, aren't they? So probably needs to happen first. Trimming or measuring. See what a well-planned operation is? Maybe this is why it's taken me 12 years. Now, I took a lot of time away from here, and I got busy with other things. That's all that 51 and a half. And I forgot my shims. I knew there was something. It's the shims. It's better than nothing. Okay. Hey, Unfiltered and Raw. Hey, dude, I was watching your market video this morning. I was drinking my coffee and watching your video of you going to that, was that in Seattle? To that street fair market or farmer's market of some kind. Horseshoes are upside down. I didn't know that. Let's go check that out. Yeah, but I can't, they won't hang the other way. So they got to go this way. Is that how it works? Like that? Is that a thing? Am I going to get lucky now? Hmm. Yeah, maybe I'll get lucky now. I don't think so. Not today. Not here. Okay, so I've got to use the hole saw to cut a hole for this conduit line, which actually needs to feed outside. There's the meters out there. I can feel the hole. I don't think I want to do it that way, though. No, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to run it inside. All right, let's look at finding some 51 and a half lumber. What's going on here? So yesterday I did record a lot, and I haven't gotten around to the editing. But with recording, I can do a lot more. I can make a better finished product with different angles of me doing stuff. I can also edit out all the mistakes and the goofs, like when I screw up. And make it look a little bit professional. So this is where I've been stashing. This is the bedroom. For those of you who haven't been here before, the bug out cabin has been under construction since like 2015. And the purpose is, well, a couple things. I just thought it would be a cool thing to do. And I think I need to finish it before I'm like too old to do stuff, for starters. And yeah, these are too small. That one could be sanded and used. It's kind of rough though. And also just a kind of a getaway place. And then I was thinking about maybe at some point I could rent it out as a kind of a little getaway. No, that's too small too. Like a kind of hunting cabin kind of getaway. Oh, I've got these boards here. I don't like this color. That's kind of dark, and it won't match what I've got up there. So I may just have to cut 51 off of these and call it good. And I think that's what I'll do. I need like a camera crew here. I need somebody that will like follow me around. Right? But that would be really lovely. There we go. It's a little overcast, but still a pretty decent day. It's warm. The ground here is not super even. This way I can set up a second camera to film. This has a wide angle on it. These little DJI cameras are not terribly expensive, and they're really good. So we got pencils, markers, good stuff. Oh, that looks so much better with some light. Nice. This tripod I got at Goodwill for $5. You know, people don't do kind of conventional photography so much anymore. And if you go to Goodwill, pretty much any Goodwill, you'll find a whole selection of tripods priced usually between $5 and $7. I bought a few of them that way. And they're great. I use one to hold my Starlink Mini. And so now I can use this to film, and that's stuff that I'm hoping to put up on Rumble, TikTok, Instagram. Always got to be armed. Oh, that'll probably get me banned on YouTube. Be like, oh, gun violence. All right, let's see what we got going here. So I don't need any more long pieces. I'm wondering if I should just use these two. Let's see, I might need these over here. Yeah, these might work well in that little spot. Either that or I have to get more fencing prepared. I got a ton of fencing that's not here. Yeah, those will work in there. They just need to be trimmed a little bit. And then maybe one more to come up to the window. There we go. This is the bed platform. I have slept here. Got to figure out what to do with that Tiffany lamp. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, on the flag, I got that at Costco. Well, yeah, the horseshoe above the door is upside down, but it won't hang the other way. I'm going to have to figure something out. So I guess this one here. We'll find something else to do with it. Maybe put it on the wall. All right, I'll go get some gloves. Oops. What did I do there? Messed that up. Oh, hey, Randy. Hey, well, I didn't spend a lot of money doing this. For one thing, I just did it stealth and I didn't pull permits. For another, I got all of this paneling wood, all of this stuff here I got or almost free, gas, by driving around in the city looking for people that were getting rid of a fence, and they would usually put an ad on Craigslist, and because they want somebody to just kind of come and get rid of it. And then I would trim off the part at the bottom. Usually they were replacing the fence because it was rotted out. And then I'd take the part on the bottom and trim that off, and then take the rest of it and sand it, stain it. A lot of the stain I got real cheap at Habitat for Humanity. I don't think you get those deals anymore. They got smart and started raising the prices. But I was able to get an awful lot of, and I still have some of it at Habitat. I did have to pay full price for the T111 siding, but that was before lumber got crazy expensive. And stuff like this, well, I just made this from a tree. And a lot of the windows, almost all the windows I bought at Habitat for 10 cents on the dollar, what they probably cost originally. And whew. So I didn't really keep careful track, but it's probably just a few $1,000s that I have into it. Really, the wood stove was here when I bought the property, and it was in an old trailer, and I gave the trailer away. And right, so these will be a way to finish off this wall here. But I was going to start by taking care of this little patch up here, and that needs 51.5. So we're going to measure out 51.5. So yeah, bug out property. Oh, this was bothering me. I get OCD. I also wanted to take care of this stuff here before I do anything else. This is what a realtor once told me was called, what was the word he used for basically letting your place go? He had a nice term for it. something like delayed maintenance, but I don't think it was that. Oh, we got ants. Oh, that caulking is, okay, that window caulk. These are like really old school windows, and this one might be worth replacing. If Habitat has one the same size it'll fit in there, but I kind of like it. It's got, that classic, very retro. And a lot of the lumber I got for from people doing property cleanup. And this floor, this is real oak. That was 99 cents a square foot at Lumber Liquidators, because they were, this was like what you'd use in a warehouse. It's not the good stuff that's $5 a square. This was 99 cents. Anyhow, so bugging out. It's also bugging out from the city and the drama, which there's been a lot of online. I don't know if I should comment on the drama, because then I just become part of the drama. Maybe you guys have some thoughts on that. Yeah, I started saying when I was going down to ICE, I said, ICE had become a reality show. Then I realized that the reality show is a lot bigger than ICE. The reality show extends to the spaces on X, to the chats on YouTube, to all the events around town where people from both sides, all the little fights, all the infighting, that's all part of the show. And, like our reality show, you've got your reality show has to have certain ingredients. It has to have drama. It has to have heroes and villains. And you've got heroes and villains. If you're on the right, then you might be like, well, Pam Tifa and Spider Mike and, Maceface, those are the villains. But if you're on the left, those are the heroes. And if you're on the left, the villains are Tommy and Shane, right? And and then it's like reversed. So no matter which side of the aisle you're on, you've got your heroes and you've got your villains. And people are like tuning in every day to find out like what's the latest and who did what to who and who's when I worked in journalism, I was always upset about headlines and stories that were based on what somebody said. Like nothing actually happened. It was just somebody talking smack about somebody, talking shit about somebody. And that's not really, to me, that wasn't like really a story. That was just like gossip, But I'm going to go get some safety glasses and a little face mask. And look at that. We got a pretty nice day here at the Bug Out Cabin. Hey, DLP. Good to see you. Somebody did a post today. They said, don't wish anybody a happy Memorial Day. And if you don't understand why, then you don't get it. Yeah, I get that. There's nothing happy, really. People gave their lives men and women who gave their lives for their country, and they lost. Most of them are quite young. You know, they lost all that life that was ahead of them. And they also lost, well, they lost the life that was ahead of them, but it's also a loss for their parents, wives and husbands, children, possibly, friends, all the people that were left behind and miss them. And there's nothing happy about that. So we should honor their memory and thank them for making the ultimate sacrifice. I gotta find that mask and a pair of safety glasses. Well, I got plenty of safety glasses in assorted colors and styles. I guess I forgot to bring that neck gaiter that I was going to wear, but I've got a COVID style mask I can put on. So anyhow, it's yeah, the reality show. Like, another thing about a reality show is it's got recurring players as well as stars. And we know who the stars are. Who are the recurring players? Well, that would be like Will, and now it's seeming maybe Tinkerton. You know, people who come and go and pop up from time to time into the forefront. When I first started filming, it was never my goal. I never thought like this, I want to go film protests. I think Angry Oregonian talked about this. No, I actually had thought for a long time that it would be cool to travel around the country and interview and film ordinary people and their lives. And I did something kind of like that when I did this sawmill video about a 78-year-old guy running a sawmill. I mean, to me, that's kind of interesting. He's completely unknown, but he's doing something that's unusual, like to be running a sawmill at 78 by yourself. And pretty successful business, too. And so I was just doing parody. And then somebody said, hey, let's go down to ICE. That was the day of the naked bike ride in early October. I think it was October 12th. I was like, all right. So I'll go down to ICE. And I was immediately started going down and recording, but not live streaming. Never really wanted to live stream. Never thought of myself as being like that public in any way. Not my goal. And then I saw everybody was live streaming. Like that wasn't really like in the front my mind thing to do. But I thought, well, I'll try this. And I was like so shy. The first couple times I didn't even speak. Somebody walked up to me and I didn't even want to talk to them. They said something to me like, I don't want to talk. I don't want my voice like out there. You know, didn't even have that desire. But after a while, kind of got used to that, and I'm live streaming. But my goal was just to document. I didn't go down there to, as we've been accused of, drive the protesters out. Like that wasn't my goal. And my goal, because I have background in journalism, so my goal was to report on the story. That's kind of just how my mind works, because I was actually a real actual journalist. I worked for business publications. I worked for daily newspapers. I worked for weekly magazines. I worked for local magazines, national magazines. And, I think Honey Badger said this in her interview with BC Preacher, you don't want to become part of the story. But it's real hard down at ICE to not become part of the story. We all became part of the story. There's just no avoiding it. Wow, it's looking like it could rain now. And I became more a part of the story than I ever wanted to when Nico got assaulted. So, yeah, that wasn't the goal. I'm trying to think about what I'm doing and talk at the same time. Not working well. Oh, putting a battery in this would help, wouldn't it? So yeah, I just wanted to report on this story. But after a while, I realized I came up with this reality show paradigm. And my mindset when I went down to ICE was like I'm making a TV show. It really began to feel like that. Like I was just making a TV show. And there were people all around the country that wanted to watch this show, still are. And that's maybe some of you guys. People were really interested in what was happening in Portland. And to some extent, it was because they couldn't believe that this stuff was allowed, because in their own cities and towns that wouldn't have been possible. And certainly in red states, they would not be as tolerant as they are here. And remember one night, it was like 10:30, and I'm standing in the middle of Bancroft Street in front of the ICE building, and I'm asked people, where are you guys? Right? It's 10:30 Pacific time. And there's people in South Carolina, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee. It's 1:30 in the morning, and they're up watching the protests. So yeah, it kind of became a show, I think. And the thing is, for the people who are protesting, they don't see themselves as television performers, right? They're there for a different reason. I think they're there for a lot of reasons. Some of them are there because Douglas Murray has talked about, he's a great writer, that some young people today just have a need to align themselves with some kind of a cause. They just want to belong to something. And I think that's important for people. They want to have purpose and meaning in their lives, you know. And so they become, I'm going to need more than two. They become associated with some type of a cause. And for some, it's just like hanging out with friends. And that's true for the Patriots, too. You know, people going down to Patriot Corner, yeah, they want to support ICE, but they're there to hang out with their friends. And it's kind of a social thing. Not judging. Nothing wrong with that. I get it. Probably guilty of some of that myself. You know, wanting to be with people. And my water. That's out there. So, yeah, there we go. And then there's people who are what I would call dedicated revolutionaries who are really serious about change. And we're not just talking about like small change, we're talking about, you know, replacing capitalism with socialism or communism, ending gender norms, you know, big things, big societal changes. Some of the people down there are like, they're committed, they're serious, serious revolutionaries. And then there's others, and depending on what time of day you go, that are just not happy with the immigration enforcement techniques and tactics, and they don't like ICE, and so they want to protest against ICE. So I think not everybody is like always motivated by the same things. And then among the right wing folks, there's people who wanted to document. There's people who wanted content. There's people who wanted to show love for their country. And all of those things can be true, in my opinion, at the same time. You can love your country, want to support ICE, and also want to get content. And maybe your goal is to get content for building your social media, and maybe it's for making money. I've said this before, it's hard to monetize a live stream because the music that gets played is copyrighted, and you know they'll get dinged for that. But I'm going to need a couple more. But I'm thirsty. Yeah, so some people would go down, and I think there's people that go down there on both sides because they like to get in other people's business, fight a little bit. I don't mean like violent fighting, but arguing, debating. And there was a lot of great debates back in October, November. People gathering in the street, and debating each other, and sometimes it would go south, but most of the time it didn't. Most of the time it's just a lot of shouting. And folks who wanted to go down and troll on both sides. And you've got all these different motivations and all these different goals kind of coming together. And colliding, right? All of them colliding, all of them ending up at the same place. And people on the left, I'm not going to call them liberals. You know, I like the work that Karlin Borisenko does, and she's made the point many times. The left, this is a point Dennis Prager's made. The left, those aren't liberals. Liberals are if you go out to like the Woodstock neighborhood and the old folks holding up their signs, the indivisible protest. Those are liberals, or maybe progressives. But they want change through, the ballot box. They don't want necessarily a violent overthrow of the established order and, massive revolutionary change. But the people down there that at the ICE facility are not, for the most part, my idea of liberals. They're a little further on the spectrum toward the left. And it's a mistake to just call them liberals or libtards or whatever name somebody wants to use. I forgot what I was going to say because I'm trying to do this and talk at the same time. There were people who went down to kind of troll the left, and I know what I was going to say. So they're saying like, well, you MAGA people, we're not all MAGA, but to them, yeah, are you're just here to make money off us, to get content. But some of them post a lot of content. Some of the folks on the left down there at ICE post a lot of content. Not necessarily live streaming, but they post a lot of content. Most of it on TikTok and Instagram. And their content would be the MAGA people, the Patriots, and ICE, of course. ICE cars leaving the driveway, ICE coming out and arresting people or pushing people or whatever. Oh, that's going to be a tight one there. I think I might just take a little off the end with sandpaper. All right, 3 boards to stain. See what's going on in the chat. I need my old people glasses for this. Oh yeah, pretend media. Sure. Yeah, good point. Yeah, pretend wants content. Absolutely. And monetized, and all right, Frank. Yeah, pretend wants content, and there's an interesting thing. I think in the beginning, Nathan went down really just to kind of document what was going on. And then he got the bug. You know, he got the filming bug. And he wouldn't be the only one. He got the filming bug and he was like hooked. All right, I think I want to get some sanding done on this one. So let's go get the sander. He, unfortunately, you know, he's not a journalist. So he didn't have like those kind of instincts, kind of native instincts. But he developed them. And I know people made fun of him and called him statue media because he would stand in one place. But he began to move around and started to film other things. That did not always sit well with his comrades. And he got yelled at some couple times. But he is now trying to do other things because he got that filming bug. And he's filming bike rides, parks. Man, I need even more lighting in here. I really do. It stays nice and cool, though. Yeah, it stays nice and cool because I'm under the trees. I'd never owned any property when I bought this place. I'd never seen or considered that I might be somebody who could even own a piece of property. And it was kind of a big step. Right, give it a slightly more finished appearance. No, I'm not a carpenter. I'm just a guy who's not afraid to fail and try stuff, you know. The tongue and groove, yeah, I bought that at Home Depot. That was one of the few sort of luxury type things that I splurged on for that tongue and groove ceiling. But yeah, it doesn't match really the rest of the cabin, so I'm not sure it was a good move, but it's up now. It's up now. All right, let's look for... I don't have a screwdriver in here. I should at least have one screwdriver to open this paint can. This is, I saw the Antifa down at ICE one night. They were trying to remove some siding. This is what you need, guys, okay? You need one of these. They were trying to use sticks or something. This is supposed to give it a kind of a weathered gray look, maybe like a building that's down at on the coast, or as you people on the East Coast call it, the beach. I used to live there on the East Coast. Used to go to Long Beach Island in the summertime. Beach Haven, Ship Bottom. Isn't that a cool name? That's just like the best name for a town is Ship Bottom. I don't know where it got that name. There was an old, I don't know if it's still there, an old whaling ship called the Lucy Evelyn. And it was turned into a gift shop. I don't think we ever bought anything there, but we always went in there just to walk around. I'm sure a lot of people did. Just go there to walk around, not actually to buy anything. And I put this outside where it's a little windy, and maybe that'll help it dry faster. Now, I'm not going to use the same stuff for every piece because I want some variety. Because men like variety, right? Mostly what I want to focus on now, though, is this election. This is important. We got some really important things like the governor's race, obviously. And we've got IP28, ballot measure that would ban basically ranching, hunting, I think fishing. And boy, if they get away with it here, they'll try it in other states too, but it would just destroy Oregon. It would just destroy the livelihoods of thousands of people who produce food. It's like the most noble profession to be a farmer or a rancher and produce food, feed people. Now, it may only be a small percentage of the population, but back in the day, like when our country was young, like in the 1700s, 50% of the population worked in agriculture because agriculture was kind of inefficient, right? We didn't have all the modern equipment and the fertilizers. So you needed 50%. And if the shit ever hits the fan, and we go back to living like it's 1860, 50% will be working in agriculture. I highly recommend a book by James Kunstler, series of books called A World Made by Hand. And Kunstler, He wrote this series of novels about an apocalyptic sort of dystopian future in which there'd been a big war in the Middle East. Washington, D.C. had been nuked, and there was no more oil, and basically everything, shit hit the fan kind of stuff. Everything fell apart. So, it's a regular novel with a protagonist, and who encounters difficulties that he has to overcome, and all of that good stuff that makes a good novel. But it's also a kind of an interesting attempt to imagine what a future like this would look like. And what he imagines is that people go back to farming because the number one priority. I know Democrats would find this hard to believe, but the number one priority is not tampons in the boys' bathroom or gender-neutral bathrooms. It's food, right? Because we die if we don't eat. And some people set up kind of feudal type systems where they see what's coming and they buy a whole lot of land. And if you want to be fed and have security, you can work there on their land, but you're going to do what you're told. And everybody who isn't, and then some people have their own little deal going, working on their own farms, and they're using horses and oxen and mules. And for the people who aren't engaged in farming, they're doing things like making candles. Which means, I guess, some people are going to be engaged in raising bees so that you have wax for candles. I'm not going to give away the story. Well, there's actually 4 of these novels, so there's a series of stories. It all takes place in upstate New York. But Kunstler tells a good story. He's a very unusual guy. He, in addition to writing these novels, he also wrote some very good books about the social landscape. One of them was called Geography of Nowhere, one of my favorite books. And it's about how did every place in America get to look like every place else because of zoning laws? How did we end up with ugly buildings and ugly suburban housing and cities that look just like other cities, like these big long lines of strip malls that you could be anywhere. You could be in Akron, you could be in Phoenix, you could be on Highway 99 on the east side. Like, how did that happen? So he gets into all that. He also wrote a book called The Long Emergency, which was about a future with not no oil, but limited amounts of oil. We're kind of tasting a little bit of that now, aren't we? With this Iran war and the Strait of Hormuz being shut down. So these are going to go in the bedroom area, and I should probably cut them first. But the problem is, well, I don't want this brush to dry out, but maybe I can put it in some plastic and keep it from drying out. And cut them first. Oh, here's the screwdriver I couldn't find before. So we'll do more cutting. So yeah, that's one of my favorite books. Geography of Nowhere. Just such an insightful and original book. I don't read as much as I should, and I used to read a lot more. But now I'm doing audiobooks because I drive a lot, and so I can catch up while I read. I'm right now listening to Karlin Borisenko's book on, it's called Anti-Woke something. And I'm trying to get through a book by Douglas Murray called Death, Cults, and Democracies. And another book that he wrote called The War on the West. This is ambition. I mean, like, I haven't actually read them, like I started them. It would be good if I actually read them. But there's just not enough time in the day for all of that. All right, let's do some measuring. Oh, we need to do some vacuuming in here. This is nasty. This needs to get cleaned. That's 43 7/8. That's more like 43 1/4. I'm going to put molding in the corner, so I'm going to go with 43 1/4 and call it good. But first, no, I'll vacuum later. I got that paintbrush to think about. 43 3/4. Let's try that. Forty-three 3/4. This one's a little cupped. It's kind of cupped this way. So it sits better this way. Somebody said, am I a carpenter? No, I'm not a carpenter or an electrician or a plumber, but I've done all that stuff for myself. And if I don't know how to do something, so in the old days, back in the day, I had a book called something like the Do-It-Yourself Guide, and it was published by Reader's Digest. Now I just go on YouTube, because everything you need is on YouTube. It's YouTube U. I don't even bother reading like the instruction manuals that come with stuff anymore, with year. I just go on YouTube. So somebody's probably going to say, why are you using this little circular saw instead of a chop saw? Well, I tried using a chop saw. I had one here yesterday, and I found out that my Goal Zero lithium-ion battery does not handle either the surge or the continuous running needs of my chop saw. It's a real power-hungry chop saw, and it wants 1,800 watts, I think, continuous running. and the battery is rated for 1500. So that's a no-go. And I may invest in a little battery-powered miter saw, like Makita makes a nice one. That one is probably overkill for this sort of finishing work that I'm doing. It's like way more power than I would need. And those Makita batteries give you an awful lot of time before you need a recharge. Hmm. So this won't make quite as straight a cut as the miter saw, the chop saw would, but it's good enough for government work. And this is a bug out cabin. All right, this is not. This is not Lake Oswego, and there's no HOAs here. Thank God. I've never lived in a community with an HOA, and I never will. Like, I'm not paying. Basically, it's unlimited liability because they can raise those HOA rates as much as they want, I think. But also, you are kind of on the hook for any kind of big, expensive problem that might arise. Let's see if I can get that a little bit out of the way. I mean, I've heard these horror stories where, oh, hey, we discovered there's something really wrong with the roof, and everybody's getting a bill for $20,000, that kind of thing. And then they tell you what you can do and what you can't do. Like maybe like what color you paint your house, that kind of thing. Speaking of which, so I was talking about the costs on this place. I painted this for like $25 where the main color. I went to Miller Paint and they had these paints at the time. You could get a 5-gallon can for $25. And it was paint that somebody decided they didn't like the color and they returned it. I don't know if they let you do that kind of return stuff anymore. But that was the color they had. It reminds me of, so I grew up in Philadelphia, and it reminds me of the color that they painted the municipal buildings on the inside, which even as a kid I thought was just a butt ugly color. And I remember asking my dad like something about like why they picked that color. And he had an interesting theory. He said, well, they want you to think they're not wasting money. So where did I put the lid? So they chose this butt ugly color because it looked cheaper. That was his theory. And maybe it was cheaper. I mean, maybe that's why. Maybe they got a better price on it. Well, we should probably do... I got a pretty cool breeze running through here. I think it's probably about 67 outside. Yes, I did use the same brush for two different colors because I don't have running water up here to clean brushes. And I don't have a whole lot of brushes. Brushes, yeah, that's one of those things, like, how did brushes get so damned expensive? Like, such a basic item. I don't understand why brushes are so expensive. Maybe somebody can figure that out for me. Brushes and paint. Now, paint, I think, got expensive because, like, during COVID or something, the one factory that makes the stuff that you need to make paint, like, had supply chain issues or something. But brushes, I don't know. So I don't have running water, but I do have a barrel with some rainwater in it that I collected. And I've got to let these dry before I can put them up. But maybe the ones that I started with are dry enough now to put up. After I get these walls done, I can some of these little antique things that I bought while I was doing road tripping in Montana that I thought would be like kind of fun. Hmm. Oh, I missed a spot. That's a little better. Another project I was thinking about doing was making an actual countertop for these tables that are in need of something besides plywood. This one over here, I think I'll eventually put a sink into it. But this one here, and I was thinking about using, I've still got some flooring left over. So there's that pile of flooring. And I've also got a whole bunch of pieces of flooring that are under here. These are probably rejects. I'm not sure why they're there, but I bet a lot of them I could use. So I don't like wasting. And I do need a countertop for the, so I was thinking about working on that today, but I probably want to get that stuff up in the corner first, and then I have to clean off the surface. The first thing I got to do is clean off this brush. And for that, we got to go out to the rainwater tank. Don't fall over. That looks sketchy as hell. I used to have a rainwater system here that could collect 3,000 gallons. Now I just have one tank, one 300-gallon tank. Man, that stuff just sticks around. That's hard to get out. Maybe I need a... What is going on here? You know what? This might not be... I don't think everything in here is water-based. And I don't have anything else to clean with here. So I may just have to wrap it, keep it wet, and then clean it later when I have access to like some kind of solvent-based product. I should put a little bit of water on that. I think this is an old box of gloves from COVID. Remember that? Remember when people were like buying gloves? And I know someone's going to say, not me, but yeah, people were buying gloves and all kinds of other crazy stuff to avoid touching germs for an airborne virus. Makes absolutely no sense. No sense to be buying gloves for an airborne virus, but all kinds of crazy stuff happened. And now maybe they're trying it again, you know? Hantavirus, Ebola virus. I don't know. Let's see what, check the chat. Yeah, yeah. Some of that was, oh, but I need some illegals. Damn. HOA is a form of communism. Yeah, it feels like that to me. And I used to live in Florida, and we had these like people we called condo commandos. They were literally Nazis. they were These are almost dry. So I got these two here, this one here. I think I'm gonna get some gloves and put them in the sun, and that'll really dry them fast if the sun stays out. Speaking of communism, I've been watching an HBO series called Chernobyl. So for you younger people, Chernobyl was a nuclear power plant in the old Soviet Union. Oh, that one's not quite done, but we can catch it later. That had a reactor core explosion. And it could have ended up being a global environmental disaster, at least according to the movie, but I think that's true. And this HBO series, that's good. That's what I wanted, 3 different shades. This HBO series talks about what happened and the steps that were taken. Like a lot of people died really horrible deaths, really bad. Of the radiation poisoning is really, really bad. But it's really well done. Well done, Doc. There was a time when I thought you can't live stream stuff like this, just wait. But then I saw Arturo live streaming himself standing on his back porch watching it rain. How exciting is that? And I've got to give that guy credit, though. He can just talk for hours. Like, and he never runs out of stuff to say. That's a skill. That's definitely a skill. All right, I'm going to go get the, oh, it's here. No, that's not what I need. Uh-oh, I might, yeah, there we are. I need the extender, the wand for the shop vac. Oh, that overcast sky kind of burning off now. Look at that, nice and blue. Wow. Going to be a beautiful Memorial Day. For some reason, this shop vac does not want to plug into. There we go. Now, I really like to clean. I don't know why. One point I thought I should just start a cleaning company. But I don't really like schedules. I like to have the freedom to kind of do what I want when I want to do it. Whoa. And I'm caught on something. Caught on these Christmas lights here. All right, so there's guy clean and there's girl clean. This is guy clean now. Got to get organized. It's a small space. I've lived in small spaces before, though. I lived on a 350 square foot houseboat for 4 years. Does anybody buy these anymore? I don't think so. These are just like the worst safety glasses. I spend the money for nice things and I don't get those things. That's a nice bit. We don't want to lose that. I did turn on Protect Media last night, and it looked pretty dead down at the ICE detention center on McAdam there. I thought they're not going to stop fascism like that. Gotta get busy, guys. But yeah, I think ICE is kind of dead compared to ICE last fall, and which is interesting to me because there was kind of this whole, well, in summertime, when the weather gets better, it's going to get really, really spicy, and we're going to have a lot of people and all, but that has not really materialized. Okay, so the plan here is to clean this off, get that wood up in there, and I got to think about, that'll be tricky in that spot. I've got pre-cut pieces, but they might not work. I might cut new pieces. But yeah, I got to take care of that corner, got to take care of this, and I got a new toilet seat for the outhouse. Needs to get installed. So maybe we should go down and take a look at that. Hey, let's do a toilet seat unboxing. That should be exciting. Wow, they really packaged this thing. How to get this open to get to the screw holes. There we go. Those are pretty big screw holes. I might need washers. Yeah, I'm going to need washers. Or maybe not. They've given me these little fasteners here. So I have to replace the toilet seat on the bug out cabin crapper. Oh, so they kind of want me to drill holes. Oh, I see how this works. I have to drill holes, and then this thing screws through. All right. Well, that might work, except I didn't bring a drill bit. I don't think I have a drill bit here that's the right size. So unless I have, yeah, actually I do. I think I have a box of drill bits in the truck. So I have to find one that's the same size as this, and then we can install the outhouse seat. That's pretty exciting. Hmm. And I'm going to let you all enjoy this view of the bug out cabin Memorial Day flag while I go see a man about a horse. This might be a good time to check the Wi-Fi and see how we're doing. I have a feeling if I have to replace, I'm running on battery right now. And if I have to switch over, it's probably going to kill the stream. I do have some cell service here, and it might pick up on the cell, but I don't know. I have a little backup battery feeding it. But let's see what kind of service I got here. How much time we've got left. Oh, we're doing real well. 71%. %. Wow. That's pretty efficient. I think this might work. It's going to be close, but if I wiggle the drill a little bit, it should be. Oh yeah, that should do the trick. Question is whether my setup will work with this toilet seat, and if not, I'm going to have to get creative. This will give these boards a little bit more time to really dry and cure. And my theory on outhouses is they shouldn't have doors, because then they just trap the smell. And nobody's going to see here, so what the hell? I could put a curtain on it, but I leave this one open. All right, if it's your first time, welcome to the Not Tina outhouse. Doesn't get any more real than this. Well, I think that'll work, yeah. But I got a problem. I got two. Let me show you the problem here. Problem is there's two screws right there. So we've got to get a drill bit to get those out, because I think they're going to be in the way. I drove past a place this morning that had hundreds of huge American flags flying. It was really something to see. Well, there's a better place to mount the camera so you're not just looking at my backside. Let's focus on the actual work, if I can. Only here can you get a view right down into an actual backwoods bug out cabin outhouse. Look at that. Wow. I mean, talk about a reality show. Attention, Bob Vila. I don't think you've ever done this, have you? Maybe not. I suppose I should just use the same spot as before. And if I do, oh yeah, we'll be perfect. All right, so I'll just drill those two places out there. Somebody's gonna be, you're not really going to stick your hand in there, are you? Yes, I am. This hasn't been used in years. Attention, female viewers. If you're looking for somebody who's handy, I'm available. All right. Well, it's not quite the same size. So we're going to have to, yep, screw it up. Look at that. I should have used this as the template. You watch my lives and you've done all the things. Everything not to do, how to do stuff wrong. I wonder if Mr. Bill is restreaming this right now and talking about my toilet installation skills. Now, this is the tricky part because you don't want to drop one of these things down in the hole. Do you? No, you don't. So I'm not going down there. Even though it hasn't been used in a long time, I'm still not going down there. Okay, that's one. Let's get the other one. So I haven't lost the stream because I'm kind of far from the Wi-Fi. So I'll go back to the cabin and make sure I've still got a stream going. Okay. I'm not really sure how this part works. So I don't see how you get both of these on. Maybe I have to unscrew them first. That might be it. Well, that's what I'm going to do because I don't know what else to do. Oh, look at this. Working on the outhouse, viewers have dropped to 12. Of course, it is Memorial Day, and people probably are barbecuing by now. And that's probably a better use of their time than watching me install a toilet seat on the secret bug out cabin. So conveniently, the screws in here are Phillips head screws. So I've got to go back and get a Phillips head screwdriver bit. Good times. That'll work. My little jar of bits is in the truck. Meantime, I'm probably wasting battery here. I'll turn those off. Well, if you're just tuning in, I'm replacing the toilet seat on the bug out cabin outhouse. I said earlier that like the most important thing in civilization is eating, and the companion to that is pooping. Some old joke about like all the different body parts were arguing about who was most important and the asshole won. Okay, look at that. One of these days I might actually paint this thing. All right, so the bug out cabin has a new seat. Everything works. I'm going to cover it up to protect it from the elements. Well, I like this shop light so much. I'm gonna get another one. I'm gonna hit Costco and get another one if they still sell them at Costco. Let's check the chat. Tell me what's going on out there. What's going on in the... I don't even know who else is streaming today. Given, if you're just tuning in, this is the bug out cabin. It looks like Mr. Bill is streaming. Memorial Day observance. Okay. And well, I hope you guys are having a good Memorial Day. And find my water. There we are. And then next job is to put some of these boards up here in the corner, up in there. And then maybe I will, well, I've got to figure out how to take care of this. I've got a spot at the bottom that doesn't have enough room for a full width board. And I don't have a table saw here to rip something. And also, it's actually on a kind of a slope there, the table, the counter, I should say, either that or the wall. This building, you know, it's kind of hard doing it myself. This building is not square. There's a lot of things in here that are not true. So let's see what it is. It may have settled over time. Well, this definitely runs downhill a tiny bit. And the wall, these are running uphill just a tiny bit. So I need to cut a piece to go in here. And it's got to be 56 inches long. Piece to go in there. I probably blocked that entire shot. That was really stupid. Okay. And that's where we're going to be working. I'm going to go get the boards. It's sun's gone back in. You know, it keeps going from like bright and sunny and warm to looking like it could rain any minute. It's very mercurial weather, and I think we're getting rain. The whole Pacific Northwest is supposed to get rain tomorrow. I've got to turn on the air compressor. And yeah, so I need one more piece that'll drop down in here. And these are going to go up in here like this. Like that one right there. I think it'd be better to put the dark one. And then the light one. Like that. Well, do the dark, then the light. This is 56, but it doesn't have to be because it actually continues. So I could use smaller pieces. That way I can use up a smaller piece. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe just cut a piece that's 28 and a half. And that'll take us to here. Got a nail that's got to come out here. Oh, that's not good. Let's see if I got a long enough piece. This might work. Nope. All right, so either I have, because I've got a pretty big gap here, either I have an overlap, which is really not good, but maybe I could find a way to make it look like it was intentional, and it'll be kind of like a baseboard, or I've got to rip it to fit in there, and that means it's got to be 3 3/4 on one end and about 3 on the other. How's that for skilled craftsmanship? 3 3/4 to 3 over 56 inches. I've been listening lately to Matt Walsh. Yeah, people seem to have strong feelings about that guy. And some people don't like him. Some people love him. I thought that movie, What is a Woman, was fantastic. But he was talking the other day about illegals with driver's licenses, which, in Oregon, they were giving everybody, now I know it's not a CDL, but everybody that wanted a driver's license, whether they had citizenship or not, could get a driver's license. And they, I'd be curious whether they cared about citizenship and applying for a commercial driver's license for CDL. But there have been a number of incidents around the country where these drivers are not well trained, not very well qualified, can't read English, and they have killed people in crashes due to their own negligence or, their own lack of skill. And the brokers, the freight brokers, who get these truck drivers or truck driving companies lined up for a company like, I don't know, Sco, that needs drivers or needs truckers. They have these brokers that find them a trucker, a trucking company, I should say. And the Supreme Court recently ruled after one of these crashes, there was a lawsuit that you could sue the broker for, I guess, negligence if they didn't properly vet that trucker and you got stuck with somebody who wasn't safe. Right, see where this is going. It was a 9-0 ruling, which means that the brokers all suddenly realized, hey, we're on the hook. We're not going to hire these illegals anymore that aren't really qualified or have really poor safety records. And that's driven up freight rates, and it'll drive up the price of everything. But I think it's a small price to pay. We want to have safe, qualified drivers on the road. The other thing is these people like Tina Kotek, who say, that they care about working people. Well, these guys are driving down the wages of all truck drivers because they'll work for less. So if you really care about working people, you won't let illegals compete and drive down wages. Right? I don't know how good my ripping skills are. I really wish I had a table saw here, but it'd be such a pain in the ass to load one into the truck and haul it into the cabin and then haul it back. Well, I could always just leave it in the truck and work off the bed, but let's get some light. The only working people they care about are the ones who are in unions that support Democrat politicians. They love those people. They love the unions, I should say. Another thing, Matt Walsh was talking about, I'm trying to remember now. He's been talking a lot about history and Indians, and the stuff that you've been taught in school might not actually be true. And boy, those are controversial, but they're worth listening to, and you make up your own mind. The story of the Trail of Tears, he says, is largely not true. But a lot of things that we're taught aren't true. Portland's got a street named after Rosa Parks. And you've probably seen the picture of Rosa Parks sitting on the bus. And it looks like, she's just a seamstress who was targeted by, was arrested because of the racist policies that forced black people to sit segregated from whites on the bus, which is, of course, abhorrent. It's totally wrong. But she wasn't just a seamstress. She was actually an activist. And what she did on purpose. Not to make it wrong, but that's not the story we're told. The story we're told is kind of like, oh, she was just riding the bus that day. No, she had an agenda. This was planned. And that's okay. But they should be honest about it. They should tell you that that's actually what was happening. And the white guy sitting behind her in that famous picture of her, that iconic photo of her sitting on the bus, he's a journalist, right? It's all set up. And that's not hard to find the proof of, apparently. Matt Walsh didn't uncover anything, groundbreaking, but or original. But I wonder if Portland's not going to rename Rosa Parks Way. That's for sure. All right, I think, well, I'm going to try my ripping skills. We'll see if this works. But I wonder if they'll change the name of Cesar Chavez Boulevard, which we used to call 39th Avenue, after it turned out that, what was he accused of? Rape? Molesting somebody? Molesting several somebodies? All right, here goes nothing. This is cedar, so it cuts real easy. Oh man, that's a good smell. Love that smell. Well, Jeff, it would. Okay, let's see if this fits. Oh, crap. It's a little rich. It is not going to fit. I might be able to hammer it in there, but it's going to be too tight. Well, so what do we do? Because I don't think I can take off that tiny amount. I might have to sand it. Just sand it down. Oh man, this Harbor Freight stuff is just crap. Pretty sure this is a Harbor Freight three-way outlet, and it's just terrible. Okay. That probably won't be enough, but there's always wishful thinking. There's intuition and then there's intuition. Well, I guess I'm going to have to try and shave a little bit with the saw. I sure wish I had a table saw here today. That would make this so much easier. I don't have any clamps either. Getting closer. Okay, this might not be the recommended process, but since it's my bug out cabin, I can do what I want, even if it's wrong. No, that's really not going to work, is it? Gosh darn it. It was so close, so close. Not quite there. Look how much time this is taking. This is just really... All right, how about that? Whoa! Oh, that was bad. Oh, that's what I was afraid of. Something like that. I can put some putty in there. Or I could start over. All right. Mr. Bill says, don't cut off my fingers. Yeah, you know, if that saw kicks back, that could happen. That would be a bad day. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to say F it. And that might stick up a little. And call it good. Getting hungry. I got to decide how to handle that little spot there. Decisions. 3 3/4. That's about the same. A little closer to 4, but I think 3 3/4 would be good enough for government work. And I think that's 51.6. 3 3/4. Now, I could save myself a lot of work because this is just about the right size. See, this is how we do things in the bug out cabin. It's seat of the pants. 100%. Now, let's see if that'll fit up there. Good enough for the bug out cabin, that's for sure. So what's everybody going to have for dinner tonight? What are you doing for your Memorial Day barbecue? I'm going to be different. I'm going to have lamb. Right? Everybody else will be eating hot dogs, hamburgers. I'm going to have lamb. Just because. Because I really like lamb. It's gone up quite a bit. It used to be $5.50 a pound at Costco. You could buy these leg of lambs, and it jumped overnight to $7.50. Overnight. Right, I'm looking for my stain. Maybe one of you has seen it. Figure out where my stain is. Oh, I missed a spot here. Is that? Yeah, that's still. Ooh, the wind is kicking up something fierce now. Which is good in a way because it means that this will dry, and it also keeps the fumes down. So I was saying earlier, I'm going to try and focus my account on X a lot more on the election, talking about the issues. I know some people are not thrilled. Some conservatives are not thrilled with Christine Drazan, but as Donald Rumsfeld said, it's not about the tools you'd like to have, but the tools you have, something like that. And she's what we got. I'm told by people who know her, people who work in Salem, that she is a very capable administrator. And, Governor, you need to understand how the agencies run, how the boards run. Governor makes thousands of appointments, and those appointments are really important. Not just the agency heads, but it goes several layers into the agencies, but also the numerous boards. So the people that you appoint for your administration, we're going to do this wall over here. Those are key. And so even if you like somebody's politics and their ideology, it's also important that they know how things run in Salem, how the legislature works, all of that. I think one of the problems with politics in America is you can have people who are great candidates, but they're not necessarily good administrators. And then you've got people who are good administrators, but they're not terribly successful as candidates. Example being Ron DeSantis in Florida. That guy's a fantastic governor. They had that hurricane. Did you see, they got that bridge that went out? They got that fixed ahead of time, ahead of schedule. I mean, he's really good. This might not fit. I'm going to have to pass this through the window. He's a good administrator. But he turned out to be a very uninspiring candidate. Kind of boring, a little bit stiff, a little awkward. But think about it. Are you voting for the candidate, or are you voting for somebody who can get the job done and get it done correctly? And I think on that count, she deserves your vote. She may be a little too moderate, a little too rhino, but let's be realistic. What are your choices here? 4 years of Tina Kotek is going to be like. You think that's a good thing? I don't think so. It's going to be more taxes, and she can't even deliver on the promises she's made. Like she promised 36,000 new homes every year, and housing starts hit a 12-year low in the last year for which they counted. Right? You're going to get more of that. You're going to get somebody who thinks that the answer to everything is more commissions, maybe with their wife on them, more bureaucracy, more taxes, and more of the same. And it's worked so well. Kidding. No, it hasn't. I'm hoping that Christine Drazan can get this campaign a little bit spicier. Maybe hire somebody away from Spencer Pratt. That guy's running a brilliant campaign in Los Angeles. Or, David Medina, he knows how to use social media. He did a fantastic job. No advertising, just social media, and he got 5%, and has no political background. I think that's a stellar achievement. So maybe, she needs to up her game and maybe talk now about some of the appointments she's going to make. Danielle Bethel is a sharp lady, and she speaks really well. She only got 2% of the vote, but I believe she's a county commissioner now, and she had good ideas. So why don't we talk about maybe putting some of these people in your administration now, so that people know who's going to be running things? Because it's not just about the governor; it's about everybody that's working. I think we're a little rich right here, just a little bit rich. I got to shave a little bit off the end of this. You having fun yet? I keep cleaning this floor, and it's it's still not clean. So why don't we just get a broom and do it old school? And then we need to talk about, Tina Kotek probably paid some consulting firm a whole lot of money to tell her that since she has absolutely nothing to run, the woman has nothing to run on. All she can run on is abortion, which is codified into law. A Republican governor cannot ban abortion in Oregon. It's only the legislature could change that, and it would be difficult. So what's she got to run on? She's got nothing to run on. So what's she doing is she's running these bullshit public service announcements about stuff that she had nothing to do with, right? Oregon is beautiful. It has beautiful mountains, beautiful lakes, right? She didn't do that. She's from fucking Pennsylvania. She's a transplant. Did you know that? York, Pennsylvania. So, yeah, there's sea anemone at the coast. Wow. And there's, good restaurants and places that make, pastries and what other bullshit she posts. And all kinds of, beautiful natural wonders. She didn't do that. She didn't make Oregon beautiful. So the idea is she's trying to, this is an association game. It's psychological. It's an attempt at psychological manipulation. Like, oh, I'm going to associate my name, your governor, who's done nothing, achieved nothing, and I'm going to associate myself with positive things. Oh, Crater Lake, Trillium Lake, Timothy Lake. Because what she doesn't want is her name associated with things like a failing school system, drug addiction, homelessness. Democrat supermajority, and they haven't fixed any of that stuff. What does that tell you? Democrat ruled for what, 30, 35 years? Last Republican governor was Vic Hatea. That'll work. No, they got nothing. And between the two of them, Tina Kotek and Kate Brown, they've been in public service for all of those years. Certainly Kate Brown was back in the day, and Tina Kotek, 19 years in the legislature, 19 years. And many of those years as Speaker of the House. I think she holds the record. Longest time as Speaker of the House. This Pennsylvania transplant is responsible for an awful lot of legislation before she became governor. All right. Now I got to do at least to here. Got to do something to here, from here to here. Measure that and cut that. I have no idea what time it is. I'm going to unplug this thing so they can big racket. Let's do a time check and go check on the Starlink and see what. Oh, it's only 3 o'clock. See how the battery life on the Starlink is doing. I could plug it in, but I'd have to switch stuff around, and that might be enough to kill the stream, which wouldn't be a huge loss, I suppose. Modern technology, just incredible. Oh, we're at 52%. There's like a little battery pack built into the back here. That's what this is. Worth the purchase price. Now I'm thinking about a big purchase. I'm thinking about getting a drone. Then I could have all kinds of fun aerial shots. I don't think you can use one down on Macadam and Bancroft, though I've seen them flying around down there. %52. Wow. Well, I do have a backup battery hooked into it. All right, so I got to measure this little spot here and see. We could go 14 inches at the bottom there, take it right to the edge of the sill. It's about 14. No, it's 14 pretty much all the way. Well, that's not that hard. Since I'm here, let's do this. I don't know why I didn't bring the wood all the way over here. Strange decision. So now the idea is to scrounge up enough pieces that are already stained that are good to go. So I can finish off that corner with 14-inch pieces, and I bet I can find enough. Because I've got lots and lots of small scrap. Look at this. It's an absolute ridiculous piece. But you can hear but not see because I got tired of moving the phone around. So what do you guys think? Does Christine Drazan have a chance? Or are we stuck with 4 more years of Democrat rule? And then here's another question. Let's say that Christine wins. People are pretty fed up. Let's say she wins. If she doesn't have a majority in the legislature, which that would be a miracle, I don't think that'll happen. I think we're going to have a Democrat majority or supermajority. Well, then how effective can a governor be if they've got a legislature that is, should kind of be like a lame duck? I mean, this has happened to presidents. If you don't have Congress on your side, they used to work together. Reagan and Tip O'Neill got stuff done. Not anymore. Wow, it's really busy. I believe we have rain coming. This is probably this new weather front coming on. So one, and then I can use this one as the guide. See, you get to follow the progress of this bug out cabin build. You get to see me fuck up and make mistakes and all of it. It's like, it's totally unfiltered. It's a one-person reality show. But I need some more characters. I need some helpers here. That's what I think. I don't know. I probably work better alone. But if anybody wants to volunteer, I know who I want. I want Kamala Patty. She told me she's not afraid of wildlife. She can come out here and deal with the bears and cougars. He's like, oh, I'd go out at night. I believe it, too. Well, that's just great. All right. I got a question for people who've been around for a while. What are you nostalgic for? I'm curious. I heard the other day that there are people that were nostalgic for Blockbuster. You got the Pizza Huts coming back. Yeah, it was always not great pizza. Anybody be nostalgic for crappy pizza? I mean, even back in the day, I remember Pizza Hut with those Tiffany lamps. Like, really? I didn't care for those lamps back then. At any rate, that's coming back. What are you nostalgic for? Sounds like a Mr. Bill poll. Should just, choose 4 things. Mr. Bill could probably do it. Maybe 4 things that you're nostalgic for. Care Bears? Boy, I wish I had a chop saw. I just have much better cuts if I had a chop saw. But my battery here won't run the chop saw. It doesn't have enough power. Because my chop saw is like a really thirsty tool. I need to get like a Temu chop saw that doesn't need a lot of power. Maybe I have to get one on Temu. Mm. Yep, 3 bars. That's not bad. Yeah, I got 2 brown and I got diversity here. I got some diversity. Let's do 1 more, and then do I have any other pieces that might have a slightly different color range? I don't think so. These are different thicknesses because they came from different quality fencing. Let's see if I can get a little bit more light in here. You know what I could do? I have some shop lights. They draw a lot of power, though. This is a little bit too dim, but it's a nice LED. I should really just get another tripod in here, but I'll do it this way. All right. Make it a little bit more light in there. And we can start putting up that wood. Make sure I've got to plug the hose back into the air compressor. And might need to add some nails to the nail gun. Where's the release? There we go. Speaking of guns, yeah. There sticks out a little. So whatever I put here may have to be, might have to shave it a little bit. Yeah. Just a tiny bit. It's almost there. It's just almost there. Unplug this thing. That's all right. Oh, look at that. Wow. That's serendipity. All right. Yeah, I think I need this one. Then I'll put some kind of molding in the corner there. Give it a slightly more finished look. This is working out to be a productive day.